Hello and welcome to the Kingdom Podcast. My name is Jacko, and today's this month's podcast. Really, I know I promised 2 podcasts a month, and so far I haven't kept that promise. That's just because I found it difficult to find people to record with me. If you guys are interested, hop into the Discord and let me know. Or even leave a comment with your Discord ID, and you'll be part of an episode. Also, Patreon supporters are also given the first dibs on that. This is the podcast for May. Hope you guys enjoy. This video is going to be, or this podcast is going to be a bit developer updatey. I know the previous video before this was developer updates, but I'm going to be taking this podcast as an opportunity to brainstorm some series ideas with you guys. I want to hear what you guys think of them in the comments down below, using the likes-dislikes ratio as well. So let me know what you think is interesting. So let's start off with some series ideas. Of course, we've been doing the video game series. I'm going to start up a co-op version of that series using Terraria. Also, I'll be doing another series where I do a more story-driven game. Stardew Valley is pretty story-driven. I mean, there is a story, but it's not the same as other games that you would really attribute story-driven or the title story-driven to, at least in my opinion. For me, a story-driven game is one where at every or nearly every action has a purpose or has a reaction in some sort. Like there's a linear path that you're going for. With Stardew Valley, you can plant parsnips, cabbage, beans, peppers, whatever, and all kind of ends up in the same place. Like you're all still going to try and better the community, etc., etc. You will be getting episode 4 very, very soon. Potentially after this episode, depending on whether or not I'm able to complete a script for an Explain series, specifically one on Death Note. After Death Note, there's a few other ones that I want to do, One Punch Man included. Look forward to a few different versions of the game series. We're not going to focus only on games, as I mentioned in the dev update. We just need more content, and I figured that easy content is also a great idea, and considering that we're at a relatively low sub count, it's a perfect time to experiment and for you guys to get an understanding that this is a variety community channel with multiple voices, multiple series. There's just a lot of shit that you can see and watch here, rather than having a sole individual focus on a game, a series, or a genre in general. We want to give you a bit of variety, be a community channel. Who knows, maybe that will change in the future. I don't know. I can only speak for the present. Going back to new series, an idea that I had floated around for about a year. There was a podcast a while ago that started this idea, and the podcast title will be the series title. It was Jacko's Bizarre Adventure. I'm unsure off the top of my head what episode that was, but you can scroll through the videos, or you can find it in the description and pin comment down below. Though the title of said video and said series does pray or allude to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's merely a meme. It won't be a massive JoJo reference or potentially an anime specific related series. Anime might spill into it, might not. I don't know. Basically, this series is going to be me talking about interesting stories / news. I find that I enjoy listening to people talk about stories for stuff that happened to them. And I don't find that I have, like, the podcast is interesting, but I feel like I'm talking about weird shit. I don't know. Tangents, right? I'll mention a story briefly, but it won't be the focus of the podcast, or it won't be the focus of a dev update, or whatever. I feel like we need more personality series as well, so I think this is a good idea. In case you're unaware, that is also my focus, to try and give you guys a face, an understanding of who I am, what the community is about. Because I was told, or through learning myself, that not having a personality kind of makes you not understand what you're getting behind. What's the purpose of subscribing? What's the purpose of becoming a part of the channel, a part of the community, if you don't have a leader, or you don't have a face to attribute it to? So I am stepping in as the leader and as the face to attribute to. So we're trying to go with more personality series. This series potentially may become a just Bizarre Adventures series rather than Jacko's Bizarre Adventure series. Who knows? That will have to go, or that will have to. Who knows? That'll be decided as the future goes on. So if you guys think that sounds like an interesting series, let me know. If you think it sounds more interesting, if it's multiple people telling bizarre stories, or stuff that happened to them, each episode being a new person, or something of the sort. If you think that's interesting, let me know. I really, really want to get what you guys want to see. I really want to know what you like, dislike, content-wise, whatever. So I will experiment with that soon. That will be a video, or that will be a series that will be very, very soon. I went back and watched our year 1 video. And I meant in that video I mentioned how there's gonna be a lot of new series in the coming year, and I was not lying. I really want to experiment in year 2 as much as possible, and we're coming to a close for year 2, where we actually celebrate the end of year 2 on June 10th of 2021. We started June 10th of 2019 on YouTube. Our as a community, our overall birth date is April 1st of 2019. That's when we started the Discord. I'm unaware off the top of my head when we started the Reddit. The Reddit is yet to blow up. You can find a link in the description and pinned comment below if you want to go and join that. Leave a post, whatever the hell you want, as long as it's related to the kingdom in some manner. It could be anything. Clips from the Twitch, which you can also find in the description. Clips from the YouTube. Experiences you've had within the community, things that you think other members of the community would find interesting, entertaining, etc., etc. It's pretty laid back. The Reddit, I mean, so is the Discord. Pretty much everything in the community is laid back. I mainly got the inspiration for the Jacko's Bizarre Adventure series. The title came to me after creating the title for that podcast episode, which was named such because we talked about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure quite a bit in that video. I think that was because I was writing, or at the time I was either writing the script for the JoJo's Explained video, which we will do a redux of soon, I think, considering that Stone Ocean has come out recently. I think it would be wise, or Stone Ocean trailers come out recently, so I think it would be wise to do that again. There was some mispronunciations, which I would ask that you guys don't hassle the girl that did it. She didn't know, she's never seen the series, so can't blame her. I do believe she pronounced Jojolian as Gogolian or something of the sort. It's a good video to watch. I'll leave it in the description and the pinned comment down below if you want to watch it. If you're at all interested in JoJo, you want to be a little bit up to date in the series or whatever, you can watch that video. As I mentioned before, the whole point of the Explained series was to create a sort of booklet or a pamphlet. You know, like when you go somewhere or you go to like a museum or something, they give you a pamphlet where it's like a brief explanation of what the fuck is going on, like what this place is about. I mean, and I guess you can get a pamphlet for other things other than museums and locations, but I think those are the principles. I think definitions would be, the definition for a pamphlet would be for a location. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, but so you know how a pamphlet gives you a brief explanation where technically you should still visit or explore what the pamphlet is describing, whether that be physically or like through research or whatever. You can fairly hold up a conversation using the details of said pamphlet alone. That's the idea, at least. And the Explain series is very similar. I want to aid people like my old self, my elementary/high school self, where people would talk about anime like One Piece was one of the bigger ones, and Attack on Titan as well, where I just felt it nearly impossible to catch up, especially with One Piece. One Piece was so far, Attack on Titan's less so, but it was morely because the series didn't really interest me, and I just didn't understand how people had the time to watch like 30 minutes of shit and do the homework and pass. I wasn't that great of a student though in high school, so I'm still not, and I'm going to university. Yeah, by the way, don't knock yourself down just if you're doing shit on grades or whatever. Some people talk about that in the kingdom. My recommendation is just push through it. Honestly, the best advice I can give to a student is just do the work. Just do it. Just do everything. Like, answer all the questions regardless if you think they're right. Like, just answer them. You know, like if you really, really don't know the answer to a question, still fucking answer it, because you might get bonus points for answering it. Who knows? You might have a lazy teacher that just sees you filled it in and gives you the points for that. Who knows? I mean, you only learn by doing, really. So just fill in all the shit. Just fill in all the questions on your tests, on your assignments, whatever the fuck you have. Just do it. Honestly, and that you'll pass. That's my guarantee. Just do the work, regardless of the quality, and you'll do excellent. I don't think I'm the new Plato for saying that, to be honest with you, but I definitely feel like most people stress out, and with the Yankees, it's like you always want to go for A when you have B. It's for everyone else in the world that doesn't understand that shit. You get you'll get a 70, but you wanted 100. In my opinion, it's better to not aim for anything, really. Just get the work done with the effort of like an 80, you know? Like, put in effort. I'm not saying just write down where the fuck. Like, put in light effort. Don't stress yourself out, is what I'm saying. Sorry, drinking water. And, you know, that's something I'm wondering if, as I progress through YouTube and voicing videos, it's also what I hope to get out of the Bizarre Adventure series, is to get better at public speaking. So I guess this is another tip for students. If presentations or orals, or whatever you call it where you're from, if you have trouble with those, my recommendation would be to make a YouTube channel and make a video. Movie Maker's free. DaVinci Resolve is free. So if you want to edit it, sure, but that's not really the point. The point is scripting something out. Maybe not something as complex as the Explain series, but you can use that as a framework if you want. And recording yourself reading those lines, because the reason why I mentioned it before, that what I'm hoping to get out of the Bizarre Adventure series is to get better at public speaking. Because especially when I record these podcasts, it's readily apparent, and you can hear it from time to time. You can hear me like drinking my water, pouring my water, whatever. or taking breaks to drink water. It's my throat gets really dry when I do public speaking or long form public speaking, but it's been getting better. I've noticed it's been getting better. Hope you guys have as well. I guess that's another recommendation for students. To go back to Jacko's Bizarre Adventure as a series, I used to watch videos like this when I was a kid. By kid, I would mean 8 to 10 or 11, I think. Like fresh YouTube. What was YouTube around? Early YouTube. Like really early. Because I was trying to think about what kind of editing is involved in a series like this, and then I thought about my childhood and watching videos like this, where you'd have someone tell you some crazy, like, obviously fake story. 90% of the time it's overly sexual. Where they're some guy talking about banging a chick in some weird situation, Scooby-Doo-esque situation or some shit. It's Call of Duty footage. But that never had much editing in it. And so while I won't be talking about banging chicks in my series, or overtly lying in the series as well, if you recall videos like that, or you watch videos like that, or anything to do with that, that is the general format that I'm going to be going for, is to just do talking videos, low edit, low effort content really, but done with the intent to create a visage or a personality for you guys. As I mentioned, those videos just have COD in them. For mine, I will probably do gameplay footage as well. Probably games different than the ones that are in the series, or depending on how much I start to edit. I hope you guys noticed in the recent Stardew Valley video that I did do some more editing or additional editing than the previous episode. I plan on continuing that. I will find what my editing format is for that series. I'm experimenting. Like I said, this is the time to experiment, in my opinion. So get ready for a lot of series to start and potentially never continue. Get ready for a lot of weird edits, etc., because this is the time, in my opinion, to experiment and see what sticks and what doesn't. So, we'll be doing gameplay footage rather than a repeating GIF. Trying to do that more. I mean, you can see in the podcast that we no longer do the repeating GIF, or really in the dev update. The dev update used to be more repetitive, I believe, but that's a full-on animation that I've done myself with rain over a Cowboy Bebop edit. What game specifically? Don't know. Really. Maybe we'll start off with CSGO, just because it's similar to COD and I can figure out a format pretty easily that way. But I play a lot of Civilization, City Skylines, Prison Architect, Total War. So I don't know. If you're not into those type of things, if you're not into story-driven personality videos, there will be gameplay to watch that I will make an attempt to make interesting. Let's see here. I of course have notes. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for the series, new games, and the Jacko's Bizarre Adventure series. We will try to do a podcast a month. and that's more of an update to a series than a new one. I want to bring up a topic that I mentioned a while ago that becomes more and more apparent to me as time goes on, as I get older and older. It's the topic of generations, or more specifically, micro generations, which, by my own definition, are small generations divided by advances in technology or in culture. So, in my lifetime, or since I was a kid, and this might age me a little bit. I don't know, some of you whizzes can figure out how old I am. My generation, we went from CDs to Blu-ray, and then from Blu-ray, well, you had Blockbuster, and then Netflix wasn't really a thing until like later on. Yeah, CDs don't really exist, Blu-rays don't really exist, Blockbuster doesn't exist. Netflix is seemingly on its way out. MP3s, people don't really rock MP3s anymore. Used to know a kid that had a Walkman. Used to go to school with one. He was a bit weird though, so I wouldn't consider him the definition of my generation. I remember people used to have those mini MP3s. Or it was an iPad. Oh no, what was it? MP3 mini. They were really tiny. We were looking at one of them. There's only like 6 lines. You could see 6 songs at a time. That was it. And so it's like if you had an iPod, it's supposed to fit a couple thousand of songs on it, and you only have 3 on there, or you can only see 6 at a time. Fuck me. Yeah, we went from that to Blu-ray. Now we use Blu-ray. TVs changed. TVs got thinner. Then you have 3D TVs, which no one uses. Just small shit like that. Here's another way of dating me that I thought about the other day. I remember. Here are 2 memories I remember that will help date me. When I was a kid, I used to go to Blockbuster once a week, every Friday. And I would pick out a movie. Usually just one movie. Sometimes 2, if it was a good week. Or if I found 2 movies that I was really into. 90% of the movies I picked were movies that I've never heard of and I've never been able to find again. Here's a treasure hunt. I'll give you guys something to do. Here's a treasure hunt. One of the movies I saw as a kid had a cover that I think would be borderline copyright infringement of how close it was to a Rambo cover. Had a kid with glasses on, with a straight mud on his face, red bandana. I can't recall if he had a gun in his hand, like a machine gun or not. I don't think he did though. And he's in a jungle. It's like black Ray-Ban kind of sunglasses. And in the movie, there's one scene that I remember where it's this kid and his friend doing a blood oath, and they cut their hands and they grab each other's hands and everything. Remember that? I don't remember what any rest of the movie was. I remember watching that movie, getting so bored of it. And this will also help you. This is another thing. I remember getting so bored of it that I unplugged the DVD player and plugged in the VCR. I think to play the VHS, and then I watched Tom and Jerry on a VHS. If you don't know what a VHS is, look that shit up. I don't know what to tell you. Today I used to go to Blockbuster a lot. I miss Blockbuster. I do. I understand why it doesn't exist anymore, but I'm kind of cataloging. Whoa. The kind of cataloging that Blockbuster did, or the introduction to weird movies that Blockbuster did for me. I think I watched Tremors as a kid because I picked the movie up and my family members didn't know what the fuck it was. So I watched Tremors, I believe, as a kid. I'm trying to think if there's any other weird like PG-13 or whatever the fuck kind of movies. Gremlins, I watched for Blockbuster. Maybe Chucky? No, I don't think so. There was a good amount of movies that I watched. So a lot of movies I watch now as an adult and realize, this looks weird. I feel like I've seen this before. And I think back and it was a fucking Blockbuster movie that I rented. And some of those were like, ooh, can't recall too many. But yeah, here's another memory though that will date me. I remember when Heath Ledger died. That's the guy that played Joker in the Dark Knight movie. Batman Dark Knight. I remember being in a Radio Shack where a huge array of TVs had the news on, which were talking about his death all at the same time. And I remember looking at that and thinking it was really creepy. But that will date you. That will date me. Blockbuster and Radio Shack. But I bring that up because if you go, I don't know, 5 years, 5 years difference between you and the next person, they have no fucking idea what a VHS is, or they don't remember MP3s, or probably even Blu-rays, really. I remember people used to buy PlayStations just because they were a Blu-ray player. I remember there being so many kids in my school that had a PlayStation just because their mom and dad wanted to watch something on Blu-ray. So fucking weird. No one bought an Xbox, so I was like one of the only Xbox kids in my area or whatever. Most people had a PlayStation because it was a Blu-ray. All my life, I promise you that was what it was. Who's gonna pay $600? Probably more like $300 back then. So their kid can play a game, an online game with their friend. Fucking, that's stupid. For then it was. But I mean, that will date me. Radio Shack and Blockbuster. But I mean, 5 years, Blockbuster might not exist for someone. They might not remember Heath Ledger and Radio Shack. They might not remember that. That's 5 years. It's what is it? Every generation is. Generations are marked by significant changes in culture, or it's 100 years or something like that too. I think that's too much anymore. You can't do that. You have to have micro generations now, because there really isn't. Like, there's a big difference between millennials and Gen Zs, I believe. And if you fall on the cusp of both of them, it just feels weird. There's such a difference. I don't know too much about the topic of micro generations. You guys let me know what you think of that stuff. What generation do you guys belong to? What would you call your generation? If you could name it. In what years would that count as? I'm sure most people in Gen Z, or whatever the fuck it is now, don't feel like they're fitting with the stereotypes. Speaking of stereotypes, there's one stereotype I think I don't partake in. I think there's a few that I do, for a person like me. But I think, as an artist, there's one thing that you don't see very often. I've talked about this recently with a few people in the Discord. It's self-promotion. Every opportunity I ever get, I promote myself. And I do mean every opportunity. If you go to some of the Discord servers I've been on, I would dare say I'm infamous. Not for good reasons, really. Most people will remember who I am, and they'll remember that, oh, that's the guy that promoted his merch, his art, his editing, his YouTube channel. Whatever, portfolio, something like that. But those all people always remember me. They always do. Feels good. Feels good being remembered, regardless if it's good or bad. I think. I think that what's interesting about self promo is that in an era that I would describe as one of self-love, where you're nearly constantly told to keep a chin up and, like I said, be less stressful when I was mentioning students and everything, and don't doubt yourself, like self-motivation, like there's all kinds of shit like that, especially in the pandemic now. There's a lot of that whole do you be yourself, push yourself to go forward, etc. Self-love, self-motivation, self-determination, shit like that. In an era of self-love, I find that there's yet to be a place where one can love themselves. There's not. If you did self-promotion, and it doesn't, there is a form of self-love, and I would say that's one of the greatest examples of self-love. Because you're saying to the world that you think you have typically worth in the form of currency in exchange. In terms of art, you're saying to the world that you believe that your artistic abilities have value, and that people should pay money to experience or to partake in such talents, have their own custom art and everything. If you did that show on Twitter, right? You kind of get turned in. You kind of get like a quick mutiny. People will turn on you quickly, especially if they don't follow you for that. I've noticed that. I mean, I don't follow a crazy amount of political accounts. I like to follow a variety of political accounts, but not a lot. I do mean a variety. I think I have a good mix between left and right people. Not far right, though, and not far left, mind you. Because that's too extreme. That's almost a joke. That's a comedy. That's not politics anymore. I think Reddit, it's more apparent than Twitter, if I'm honest. If you sell promo, you get fucking booted off of some places. Some Discords, you sell promo, you get booted, banned. There's only so many strikes you can earn on an account too. If you get banned from 10 subreddits in a week or something like that, you might get a warning. I can't speak from experience. I've never received a warning from Reddit that my account's going to get banned, mind you. But I do promote the videos. I mean, you have to. When you're at a point as early on as this channel is, the growth, I don't know why I said that so weirdly, the growth of this channel will not happen naturally thanks to the algorithm in which YouTube currently operates under. Or at the very least, my understanding of how said algorithm works will not allow for natural growth. So the only way that I see fit is through self-promotion. And self-promotion involves Twitter and Reddit, etc., etc. And you can't do those things. So I just find it odd that in this era of self-love, there's nowhere to love. Sites like Reddit prefer you to praise / post about others. It's just how it is. I think Nerd City brought up the topic in one of their videos about blowing up an Instagram with butt pics, something like that, and they use the example of an artist self-promoting themselves versus an artist promoting their grandfather's work or the work of another, someone who wasn't them, which of course was a lie. Both of which leading to a site where art could be purchased. I think nowadays, even if you try to promote someone you're related to, you get banned or you get booted, or your post gets removed, something of the sort. I mean, just be totally removed. And even then, who knows? To go back to artists, artists, in my experience, rarely do it. They rarely do self-promotion, and I don't know why. If you're an artist, my two recommendations are this: make a portfolio, make an online portfolio. Where this is a world that's progressively going further and further to the digital world. I have a physical portfolio. It is big enough that it has its own shelf. I have that, alright? I like being able to flip through it and see and feel the sketches physically. I understand that if some of you watching have the same experience with your own portfolios or wish to continue to experience your portfolios in that manner. My suggestion, however, is to make a digital portfolio, a digital presence overall, really. And I will make the suggestion to use ArtStation. You can sell products on there, which is pretty good. I sell products on there. I sell brushes and everything. It's a perfect place. It's a good opportunity to get work there because you can advertise yourself as being freelance and open for commissions. And you can subscribe to their newsletter, which allows you to see or get updates for when positions fitting your criteria are available. Or you can scroll through their shit or whatever and maybe find a proper job, as some people in the world describe it as, where you get a salary. Maybe do that. That's my suggestion, is make a portfolio and promote yourself. Portfolio on ArtStation is a good start. I don't know. There are other alternatives, of course. I will leave a link to ArtStation as well as my own profile in the description down below. I mentioned this in the Discord the day of recording, which is May 28th of 2021. And I mentioned how you really have to have no conscience / no humility in order to do that. I really think those are two things you should cast aside the minute that you browse the internet. I think you have to get rid of your conscience and your humility pretty swiftly, because otherwise people are going to pick you apart. They're going to chew through you pretty quickly. I think there are moments in my life where I went to certain communities in the online world. I'm not talking about far right ones. I'm not talking about that Pepe bullshit that every fucking newsletter wants you to read about or know about. Where it's like, your fucking kid's turning into a Nazi because they went on a fucking this server or something like that. I definitely I had conversations with people that were life-changing to say in a certain way. I think that gives them too much credit, but you gave me a broader understanding, a quicker understanding of the world. A quick, broad understanding of the world. And I think that made me understand pretty quickly that you gotta have no humility. You gotta be able to climb and push and shove, and if you want to get to the top, if you want to do something, you know, like you don't have to beat everyone up to get to the top, but you should not be so conscious that if someone punches you in the face, that you have to think 3 times over if you should defend yourself. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Let's continue with art. I want to talk about VTubers very little because, and this also goes into self-promotion as well, on the Twitch channel, which if you aren't hitting or following us over there, go do so. We're trying to get to affiliate. We're at 20-ish, 24, something like that now. We need to get to 50. When we get to 50, we get to affiliate. And with affiliate, we can start having community-driven projects over on the Twitch. Right now, I am just, as I mentioned in the dev update, I believe previously, or last week, as of recording, the Twitch is not intentionally just focused on me. The idea from the start was for me to grow it to a level where I could be comfortable with other people joining on, and then we could make money from it. It would be an actual thing that people would want to invest time and effort into with me, because there was a payoff. There was something to actually be done. And recently, or a few months ago, I had to get rid of my overlay that I had made. And now I've noticed how the streams are kind of... There's no era of separation between me and another who's playing the same game. Take, for example, this past Wednesday. I decided to play City Skylines. While my city's different, the general overall footage and what's happening in the video, or what you're able to view, is one and the same as someone else. Because I'm following a general tutorial, I'm putting in, there's only a certain amount of things you can really do. You know, Stardew, when I played Stardew, it was even more similar. This War of Mine, probably even more similar than any of those. I mean, there's no variation. And my idea for variation is to maybe bring back the overlay, or make a new one, and to make my own VTuber. If you're unaware of what a VTuber is, it's usually anime characters used for face rigs or as a alternative to a webcam. It's basically a avatar that a online personality will use. Usually, typically a streamer. I think there are a few YouTubers that do it as well. I may do it. I don't know. I definitely will do it for Twitch at some point. And overall, these VTubers tend to get hate within the... Or at least I've witnessed hate within the Western community. Or even in people who are unable to make VTubers themselves, or don't grasp the concept of it. They usually attribute hate to it, and I don't fully understand it. I don't understand the hate behind it. I think it's an excellent idea. Because whether you like it or not, everyone kind of looks the same. You know, there's only so many faces to choose from. I think that VTubers adds a good variety in the mix. It's interesting to look at. I mean, VTubers are characters like VTubers are what distinguish books or TV shows or whatever. Design, style, animation, emotion, etc. I mean, if you're like me and you're just uncomfortable with showing your face, that's a good alternative to giving up. So yeah, expect me to have a VTuber on the Twitch very soon. I don't know. I can't say exactly a date because I don't know fully how to make one. But when I do make one, when I do learn how to make one, I will make a tutorial. I will also be making a Premiere Pro graphics series very soon. It will be different than Editing 101. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that series. If I'm going to bring it back or not, I don't know. The first video in the Premiere Pro, or in the graphics series, would be a graphic tutorial on an intro that I would design for our upcoming review series. I can't give you too many details on that because everything's kind of all over the place. I currently, right now, if you can hear the pages, I'm currently holding my notebook that I write my notes in, and in here there are 3 separate reviews. One for Bebop, one for Dr. Stone, and one for Drifters. There's an incomplete one for Monster, which I guess I can go on, maybe make a video out of that. I'm not sure, but expect those reviews soon. I probably will start with Drifters just because I know what I want to say and I have recommendations for it. And I was really hoping that I'd be able to do it when a second season would come out, but it really doesn't look like it. And that whole community is starving for content, so I might as well feed them and give them something. Other than that, I just want to mention real quick that I will be doing a thank you video for the subscriber count that we've gotten recently. I'm incredibly happy with how year 2 has gone so far. I more than likely won't be able to do another podcast before June 10th. Maybe, who knows? The content well is running dry. Maybe I'll be able to do another podcast. Hopefully I'll have someone with me. The next podcast, I can't make promises. Recording with other people is more difficult than I had originally imagined when I started the podcast back up. But I will certainly have some sort of celebration soon. There will be a celebration for year 2 with another giveaway. Probably a grander giveaway than the last one. Maybe 4 nitros. I don't know. Maybe Discord nitros. Maybe something that isn't just Discord. Maybe something that YouTube frogs would enjoy too. Or Twitch frogs or whatever the fuck. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think would be an appropriate prize for being subbed for 2 years. For being a part of this community. What do you guys want? Let me know. With that, I want to say thank you. Please leave a comment as to what you thought about any of these series or anything I mentioned in today's video. Leave a like, dislike, all that stuff helps me like crazy. And if you're interested in any of the topics I mentioned, anything that I've mentioned at all in this video, you can find links to everything in the description and pinned comment down below for further reading, further research, etc. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name is Jacko. If you want to know more about me, check out my Twitter at Jacko_2026. That's Jacko_2026. You can find a link to that in the description down below. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Like I said, Bizarre Adventure series, game series, etc. coming very, very soon. I hope you guys enjoy those series, and I hope you guys have been having fun watching these new series come to fruition as promised nearly a year ago. Talk to you guys very, very soon. Have a pleasant rest of your day.
Seems like yesterday. Seems like yesterday. Yesterday.